What's going on, everybody? Good evening. It's your boy Kyle Summers, your bro therapist. And on my Facebook page, you can find me at facebook.com/the bro therapy. I had asked a question, and then the question was, what are you struggling with? And comment down below, and I'll make a video about it. And I had several comments about people wanting to learn about grief, how to heal after you've lost someone. And really, grief is not just specifically when you lose a loved one. Grief can occur in so many different situations. Grief can occur when you lose health. People struggling with chronic illness go through a sense of grieving and losing their ability to feel healthy, to do certain things in their life. You could be grieving the loss of a pet. Obviously, you can be grieving if you and your spouse divorced, being separated from loved ones. There's so many different ways in which grief can occur. And my experience in working with individuals that are struggling with grief is that they don't adequately acknowledge their pain. A lot of times it could be that they're getting suggestions and help from others saying, just get over it, or it's been long enough, and all these different things, because a lot of people don't know what to say to somebody who's grieving, and they just give them kind of shitty advice, and they begin to formulate that in their head like, oh, I should be over it. X amount of time since the event happened, I should be over it. Well, time is important, but it doesn't in of itself heal your pain. What you do with that time. And, number one, just acknowledge the pain that you're in, both the emotional and the physical pain. You can literally have physical pain when you're going through grief. And you got to acknowledge, what all you've lost, in terms of if you lose a loved one. So, let's see, I've got my whiteboard out. So let's say this line is just a continuum of time. And let's see, it's blue, here's you, and here, oh, nope, I did it wrong. Dang it. I was thinking about this in my head before I did it on the colors blue and yellow. Give me my yellow. So here's the you and that person representing the blue and the yellow, and this is where you're currently at. When you think about the future with this person, you're going to imagine a future that includes the both of y'all together. So when you think about your life, and you think about the things that you hope to accomplish one day, and you think about what's life going to be like at certain intervals, when it's a person that means a lot to you, that's in your life very much, you think of them in your life at all these different intervals when you think about your future. When you lose that person, this mental image you created of your future, you've also lost. And that in of itself is a whole lot to deal with, because now, because of the event, you have this alternate version of your future that you never once thought you were going to have to consider. And not only do you grieve the loss of your loved one, but you grieve the loss of all that you thought y'all were going to have. And it sucks, y'all. It really, really sucks. Grief is not something that occurs in a uniform fashion. There's several stages to grief. Kubler-Ross has the most well known. And when I was thinking about this video, I thought about initially maybe talking about the stages, but the more I got to thinking about it, and the more what I wanted to say in this video is just to help someone get started, because each stage in the process is worthy of its own video, really. And one of the things that you got to keep in mind is that with these stages, there's no uniformity. Denial, bargaining, anger, depression. You will go back and forth at different times depending on what's going on in your life. The specific moments that occur can out of nowhere make you feel that pain all over again. Specific dates, specific things that remind you of them, all kinds of different things can occur. And yeah, I will make a series of videos that cover each one of the stages and kind of what you need to kind of keep in mind with each stage. But I'm kind of looking at it from a vantage point of where you're struggling at right now, and you're kind of at step one, what to do first. And honestly, the first thing is to acknowledge your pain. Do not try to put it in a box and just try to dismiss it and put it away. That's only going to make it worse. And you've got to be okay in a sense of the pain that you're in. Acknowledge it. Understand that it's had a huge impact on you because who this person was and what the circumstances were behind what's happened, or the thing that you've lost, your job, your health. That means a lot to you. Acknowledge it. So you want to acknowledge it. And with grief, the individuals that I'm working with, it's an ongoing support that I provide to them. So in a lot of times what I'll do when I'm working with them is try to normalize what they're going through, help them see what they're experiencing, this huge pain, and how it's to be expected. And again, to allow them to feel it, allow them a safe, comfortable spot to feel their pain and to verbalize the things that are underlying it, because it's not just losing that person. There could be so many different things that are kind of underlying that. A lot of times it could be guilt, different things that you didn't get to do while they were still here. Could be a sense of anger. A lot of times I've seen people that have lost a family member, and let's say in this situation the family member represents a lot of very difficult, traumatic things in their life, and there's a lot of anger, resentment that's built up over the years, and then when this person passes, they've also had this feeling of grief because let's say it was a parent, and so they're kind of torn on, I shouldn't be sad because of look what happened to me, but yet they still feel sad because it was their parent, and so they don't know how to feel. And it can be very confusing, and one of the quickest ways that people will really get themselves into a difficult spot is when they just try to cover it up with alcohol and drugs. So many people will abuse just super bad stuff like opioids just to feel better. And if you lived in Iraq for the past 10 years, you probably don't know how big the opioid epidemic is, but yeah, a lot of people I've worked with that have struggled with pain pill addiction, heroin addiction, things like that, is that it all was born from an area of grief. A lot of them report that. So acknowledge your pain, and with this new life, you've got to establish your new normal. And as difficult as it is, you establishing a life for yourself is not erasing the memory of the person and what you're going to accomplish and all these different things, but it's the way in which you will go and establish what your life is going to be like by establishing a new routine and developing a mindset of carrying on with what you gained from this person. As much as it sucks because they're not around, this person meant a lot to you and has probably shaped you in certain ways. So how can you live for them? What can you do in your lifetime that's representative of the kind of impact they had on you? So if you're struggling with grief and the loss of someone or something, you got to talk about it. You got to. Whether it be a support group, a therapist, family members, you've got to talk about it. You've got to allow yourself to go through the gamut of emotions and expressing the things that are there, because not talking about it's not going to make it go away. Stop giving yourself certain rules that you should be over this or you shouldn't be feeling this way. If you're feeling a certain way, allow yourself to feel it. If you're wanting to understand any emotion that you're going through, you have to experience it in all of its rawness, and you have to be comfortable with sitting in it to understand why. What about what's going on is making you feel a certain way? And be patient with it. Again, going through this process could take weeks, could take months, could take years. Again, there's no uniformity to how it can be dealt with. Give yourself a break. And yeah, and that's my number one, is to acknowledge the pain, look for support, look for counseling, and allow yourself to be vulnerable with it. And subscribe to the channel because this got me thinking. I want to do a series on grieving and talk about the different stages and all the different ways in which you can experience the different stages at different times, and what you can do to help yourself specifically during that stage. All right, guys. Again, my name's Kyle Summers, your bro therapist. I hope this video helped. Let me know in the comment section down below if you found it helpful and what you want to hear in the future. All right, guys. Have a good night. Bye.